Atlanta Falcon fans, Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and if you're ready for NFL free agency, if you're excited for free agency, I want you to like this video right now. Even though the Falcons are in what some would call salary cap hell, this is still going to be a team that obviously needs to be able to build around their quarterback, that needs to be able to find a running game, and needs to build the defense. So if you're excited for free agency, I want you to like the vid. Let's now get into the latest news and rumors around the Falcons and maybe a player they could be bringing in. So according to Sports Illustrated, they went out, they tried to predict who could be the best signing for each team, and they thought, you know what? Joe Thuney to the Atlanta Falcons. It makes a lot of sense for Thuney, and it makes a lot of sense for Atlanta. Arthur Smith, new head coach who's coming over from the Tennessee Titans, he wants to be able to establish a solid running game. He wants to be able to establish a zone gap running game. Well, with the offensive linemen that this team currently has, it's not really very likely. And the goal, protect Matt Ryan, improve the running game. And if you do anticipate going out and, let's say, drafting a quarterback number 4, you want to have that young quarterback have a solid offensive line. Maybe go out and getting the top offensive guard at left guard at least. Joe Thuney's the guy to there. Keep in mind. So here's what the quote is from Connor Orr from Sports Illustrated. And the reasoning why he thought that the Falcons signing Thuney made a lot of sense. For a story on new Falcons coach Arthur Smith's offense a few years back, I talked to Jeff Schwartz about the importance of a guy like Roger Saffold, who arrived via free agency in Tennessee and helped the Titans transform their wide zone rushing scheme. The Falcons have one excellent pulling guard in Chris Lindstrom, but opponents were able to key on certain aspects of their offense by focusing on him. The addition of Thuney on the opposite side would make Smith's offense more likely to catch on right away. So right now, this is what the Falcons' offensive line depth chart looks like. It's not pretty. If you're a diehard fan, you know that. Your really only solid option is probably Matthews at left tackle. Sure, Lindstrom at right guard's pretty good as well. Mack, though, he's going to be a free agent, and even though he's still probably one of the best centers in all of football, are you going to bring back somebody who's over 35 years old? And if you don't, as much as I love Hennessy, I'm talking about the drink, I don't know how good he is going to be at being able to step in and be that solid center that the Falcons need. So let me know here, is it worth the price? Should the Falcons sign Joe Thuney? I want you to give me a Y for yes, or I want you to type your N for no. With him being the top guard on the free agent market, I anticipate him getting probably $12, maybe $13 million a year. Now, normally tackles are the positions on the offensive line that, of course, get a little bit more. But for Atlanta, you're sitting here, you're like, okay, well, we don't have a lot of money to spend. They're ranked, I believe, in the bottom 5 in terms of cap dollars. I mean, you got minus $8 million. You don't got a lot to work with here. You got to be able to make a lot of different moves to get it the way you need. However, would Joe Thuney be a good fit with Atlanta? Yes, absolutely. It's definitely a major need for this football team. He's a top 10 guard, and he's been a top 10 guard, I'll say, over the last 3 seasons. And if you want somebody that you know is going to be able to give you solid snaps every single game, he's 100% that. This dude has never missed a game in his 5-year career. That's really impressive. Only 28 years old, and last season in a what we'll call a bumpy road, if you will, especially for a New England Patriots offense with Cam Newton. 2 sacks allowed, and again, played all 16 games. So here are the top 5 left guards on the free agent market. It is Joe Thuney at number 1, and then there is a large gap from number 2. Matt Filer from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's the number 2 player I would put up there. Denzel Good from the Las Vegas Raiders. He played left guard. He played right guard. He played right tackle even last season. Lane Taylor, when healthy, is great. The issue is he has not really been able to stay healthy since 2018. And then Nick Easton, another option there for who played on the New Orleans Saints. The bottom line, it's simple. If you want to upgrade at left guard in free agency, it's Joe Thuney, and I don't really think it's anybody else. The issue is, if you do go out and sign Joe Thuney, then you don't really have a lot of money to be able to go out and address your defense or address other major needs here for the Atlanta Falcons. But now you could also think about, okay, if we don't get somebody at 4, could there be other players that Atlanta could go out and get potentially in the NFL draft? That still does remain to be seen. So if y'all love the Falcons, it's simple here at Chat Sports. More subscribers equals more videos. So if you already have hit that big red button that says subscribe, I salute you. I want you to take the link that y'all see below, youtube.com/FalconsTV, and send it to some of your friends. So here at Chat Sports, when we find channels that we like, we dedicate our time, we dedicate our resources to it. It's really as simple as that. So even though that our Falcons channel is brand new with 1.1 thousand subs, here's some other channels that we have here. I mean, Cowboys and Raiders, I mean, you're talking about daily videos, live shows all the time. Why? Because we built an audience. So all I'm sitting here and saying to you is this. If you want free videos around the Falcons, we need more subscribers. If you want even more videos around your favorite team, we need more subscribers. I'm not showing you all these numbers saying, wow, you're the smallest. I'm doing this to motivate you and just show you that, hey, if you stick with us, if you subscribe, I promise you, there will be a day where there's a lot more subs here, there's a lot more videos here. We're still growing as a channel, and we hope that y'all grow with us. So hit that big red button that says subscribe. And also, if you want even more videos around the NFL, and if you're looking for more free agency coverage, we're going to be live at Chat Sports. So for the past 3 years, we've been the #1 most watched free agency coverage on YouTube. We have a lot of fun. We're super interactive. So not only are we covering free agency, we're also going to be live for the NFL Draft, where we've been #1 the last 3 years. So subscribe to Chat Sports. The link is below, youtube.com/FalconsTV. Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, ready to break down some free agency news and rumors here around the Atlanta Falcons. There's a report out that the Falcons will look to bolster their pass rush in free agency. This is really not too much news. It's more of an obvious thing, considering the fact that the Falcons, well, they had just 29 sacks in 2020. Sure, they don't have a lot of money, minus $8.24 million, which is the 29th most as it stands right now. So obviously, this is going to be a team that needs to get creative, and how can they figure out which players do they want to be able to bring in to get the most out of. No disrespect to Dante Fowler, who they gave 3 years, $45 million last year. He had only 3.5 sacks. I think if you would have told a lot of Falcons fans that you were only going to get 3.5 sacks from somebody that you paid all that money to, you were going to be pretty disappointed. So now, how can Atlanta spend reasonably on maybe some veterans or some other players where they can bolster that defensive line to really help get after the quarterback? So 2 players that have been brought up in connections to Atlanta. The first is Justin Houston. So the report was that the Falcons, they could be interested in the veteran who is no doubt coming off a great year. The question is this. Could Houston take another maybe prove-it deal type of contract? Could he take a cheaper contract? Or is he going to be sitting here saying, hey, man, I've been pretty solid for the past 2 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts. I want to get paid for one last time. That obviously could happen. He's 32 years old, 25 tackles last year, 8 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. And I'll say this about Indianapolis. They brought in a lot of players last year that a lot of people thought were washed up. Xavier Rhodes, for example. Justin Houston, there was even rumors about him saying, hey, he just can't quite get it done anymore. And he's done that. But he's also done this his entire career. So if you're Atlanta and you don't have a lot of money to spend, you can go out potentially and get Justin Houston. Or if your plan is to maybe find some younger players in the draft, I'll tell you what, if I was a Jalen Phillips, if I was a Gregory Rousseau, if I was some of these younger defensive ends, I would love to learn behind Justin Houston, who, in my personal opinion, is going to end up making the Hall of Fame. It's really hard to be able to find a player that has had this much success on different teams and for this long amount of time. I mean, how many players have over 100 sacks? He's not quite there, but at 97.5 for his career, I anticipate he's going to get there. So think about this, okay? If Atlanta signs Houston to a 2-year, $18 million deal, would that be good or would that be bad? If you're sitting here saying, you know what, Mitch, I think that's a pretty good deal, I want you to type G for good. If you're like, man, I don't know, it's pretty bad. Now, he also, in terms of reference, his last contract that he signed was 2 years, $24 million. Sure, that was 2 years ago, but it is something to think about. So G for good or type B for bad. Let's say they miss out on Justin Houston. Let's say they miss out on some of these other players that they're trying to go out and get. Do they potentially go out and get Margus Hunt, another player that was brought up into a report in terms of this is a player that Atlanta could be interested in? The reason, it's simple. No disrespect to Hunt. He is more of a rotational edge rusher, and would he be a starter? No. Is he a good special teams player? From what I hear, sure. But this is simply just depth. And for the Falcons, you saw them last year. They were actually, I thought, doing a pretty good job in the first half of football games. But at the end, third quarter, fourth quarter, they lacked depth, they lacked talent, and they just got beat. they got beat up, especially against the run, and they also couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback. So this is a game where you got your defensive ends trying to get after him, and you got all these young guys on the outside. They were just getting open because nobody could get after the quarterback. So now, can Margus Hunt really give you much of a boost? No. Could it give you depth? Yes, absolutely. So 114 tackles in his career in 104 games, 24 quarterback hits, 8.5 sacks. The only reason why you're going to go out and get a player like Margus Hunt is simply this. It is simply to get more depth. Justin Houston, not even saying he's plan A or plan B, but he is a reliable veteran. If you can't get him, maybe they go out and look at a guy like Hunt. And seriously, if you guys like what we're doing here, I need you to like the video. It helps us out a ton.